Okay, so of course, I want to introduce to you, okay, our proctor for management accounting, management advisory services, si Ma'am Alex. Ma'am Alex, native ka ba ng Baguio or merong yung parents mo are coming from different location or province from other province?
Yes, sir. We are from other province. Tapos
Oh,
na-relocate lang here,
relocate
yes.
kayo dyan. Oh, nice. So, itong si Ma'am Alex is a certified public accountant and certified na magandang accountant. Oh, di ba? Tingnan nyo naman, guys. At saka, Ma'am Alex is cum laude, is consistent honor student while she was studying. Okay? And then she is currently a revenue manager in, ma'am, anong company?
I'm currently, sir, Baguio Country Club.
Country Club. Oh, di ba? So guys, so as it's because management advisory services, so I think mabibigyan tayo ng sufficient, okay? Sufficient and appropriate, okay, ng mga documents or let us say na information for us to pass the CPA board exam. Okay, so again guys, our goal today is to understand standard costing and variance analysis. Okay, so standard costing, okay? Anyway, si Ma'am Alex na ang mag-summarize ulit niyan, ano? So Ma'am Alex, before we proceed, matanong kita, ano ba yung mga challenges mo noon nung nag-re-review ka para mabigyan naman ng idea tong ating mga listeners?
Okay, sir. For me, my challenges, number one, time management. And then, ayun, kasi normal student lang din ako that time.
Okay.
But the thing is, siguro ni-start ko siya kasi sinet ko yung goal ko. Sabi ko, dapat May 2019 CPA na ako.
Wow.
Yung siguro mga second quarter yata ng 2018 nung sabi ko, dapat 2019 CPA na ako.
Ayun. So,
pero nasa college pa ako nun, sir. Mga last few months ko na lang nun sa college. Last months ko. Yes.
Talaga?
And then, yes, sir. So, yun yung una kong step. Una ko talagang step yon. Kasi syempre, nung undergrad, parang hindi pa super nakaset yung mind ko na may board exam to, dapat mapasa ko. So, yun yung time na sinet ko yung goal ko. And then, natapos ko ang college ko, December na din. So, as in, pagkatapos noon, diretso review ulit ako.
Okay.
So, ang challenge ko that time was time management. Kasi meron pa kaming toddler. And anytime, tatawagin din ako sa bahay. Tapos, I do not have a certain time talaga na kailangan umaga magre-review ako. Siguro ang secret ko lang is basta everyday meron akong time na ia-allot.
Alam mo,
pwedeng morning. Yes, sir.
Magandang sinabi mo, magandang tip sa ating mga listeners kasi marami tayong students na ang problem is their problem is time management, kung paano nila i-adapt yung current situation nila against doon sa pagre-review na
Yes, sir.
Ang galing mo, mama, wala kang definite na
parang consistent time, yes, sir.
Yes, wala kang consistent time pero you make sure na meron kang oras in a day to read and to review. Tama po ba?
Yes, sir. Ganun nga, sir.
Galing. And then,
ayun, sir. So, dun sa challenge ko na yun, minsan morning, pwedeng gigising ako ng madaling araw hanggang siguro mga 9 or 10. Tapos biglang stop. And then, there are days na review na basa-basa lang. And then, there are days na hapon na yung review ko o kaya aabutin ako ng gabi naman. Kasi yun nga, hindi ka siya consistent. But, I always note na dapat may time. And then, ano pa ba? Kapag sa changes, kasi sa amin yung batch, sir, di ba, na biglang basic calculator. So, nag-grant din ako. Nag-grant din ako nun. Pero, siguro ang tip ko lang, kung magpo-focus ka dun sa change na yon, tapos yung sasabihin mo or parang i-blame mo na baka hindi ako pumasa kasi biglang basic calcu.
Oo.
Actually, calcu na ako
Oh.
nung tinakwan ko, yes.
Tama.
Tapos nakita ko sila, oh my gosh, naka-psy-calcu sila, so nag-psy-calcu ako. Tapos
Oo.
nung nag-board exam, balik basic ako. Ayun lang, natuwa lang ako dun sa part na yun, sir.
So, nice. Grabe,
Yes.
galing. So, I think kung isa-summarize ko yung experience ni Ma'am Alex, no, is it's the normal or usual na experience or na nangyayari. Siya yung katotohanan na nangyayari sa isang CPA reviewee na kung saan ang hirap talaga ng time management. Lalo na kung katulad ni Ma'am na merong kang responsibility. So I think maraming
Yes, sir.
makaka-connect sa yung Ma'am, no?
Different.
Oo.
Different responsibility.
Oo,
Kahit, sir, kung working ka, parang ganun din yung scenario ko, sir. Iba nga
yes.
lang.
Oo,
Yes.
exactly. Kasi ngayon, ang dami nating mga working professionals na marami tayong students na working professionals. And they cannot go to the physical reviews school or review center. So that's why they are thankful na, wow, meron na CPA Online Review School. So thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening us na it's possible, right? It's possible to pass the board exam kahit na meron kang mga responsibilities as long as you're going to give time, okay? Focus on that and you have to be, I think ang pinaka right word to describe it is to have a flexible and adaptable time management kaya katulad na ginawa ni ma'am na kapag may pagkakataon na mag-review, okay, magre-review siya. Okay? So, yeah. So, of course, yeah, Ma'am Alex, no, bago ka mag-proceed, bago ko ibigay sa iyo yung mic, of course, we will welcome Miss Jude Landingin from Kuwait. Tingnan nyo naman, guys, Kuwait, ha? Nakikinig sa atin. Hello, ma'am. How are you? Marhaba. Okay? Kefalak Sadik. Okay? And then, of course, meron tayong from Pampanga, Kenny. Okay, Wilson Carlos. How are you, sir? And then, well, Atoy Pai, taga Isabela, Hanyamit 10, nagadayo. Marunong pang mag-Ilocano, no? Si, kaso, anong Leuwel? Ano to? Binaligtad niya yung pangalan niya. Yabut. Yabut, yan, Ilocano. Basta Yabut, Ilocano. And then, of course, kay Sir Randy Manlapat, okay, from Bulacan. Okay, so yeah, guys, and then, of course, we want to welcome Ma'am Pamela Lozano, one of our reviewers, no, sa auditing problem yan, si Ma'am Pamela yan. So, isa sa ating mga CPA ORs ladies, no, mga beautiful ladies. All right. So, yeah, later on, shout out ulit tayo. Okay, so itong huli kay Ma'am Shadel Joy Benliro from Capiz. Saan ang Capiz? Capiz.
Ilan?
Visayas?
Visayas, sir.
Oo, Capiz. Okay. So, doon galing yung Capiz na mga kumakapis sa patalim. Tama na nga mag-joke. Okay, ma'am. Without any further ado, syempre, guys, I will give the floor to Ma'am Alex to give you the overall of the standard costing and then, of course, to proceed with the problem solving. Okay, ma'am, take away.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right.
Last time, natapos natin yung introduction. And I think we did yung sa labor variance and material variances and then nakat tayo. So our part 2 is for your overhead variances. So ayan, nakikita ba, sir? Kita ba ang aking presentation? All right. So last time we started our presentation with our standard costing. Again, this is one type of your accounting system. Usually for any type of business naman. But when we talk of the variances, mas makikita nyo or mas ma-appreciate nyo siya, especially on its application for the manufacturing or sa side ng manufacturing company. But nonetheless, it's applicable to other types of companies. So over here on my presentation, I have an overview of your overhead variances because last time we have done your materials variances and your labor variances. Ayan, basic na yan sa inyo. Alam ko, CCO. Kayang-kaya nyo nang atakihin yon. Okay. So, dito naman sa overhead variance, alam ko medyo may ilan pang nalilito. So, bigyan natin ng kalinawan yung topic na ito, no? Because under your overhead variance, ito yung sinasabi nilang may four-way. Now, by the way, kapag sinabi mo overhead variance, ito naman yung differences between the actual, the budgeted, and the standard cost for your overhead amounts. Now, last time, na-mention ko, I have here the summary. Ito yung expanded na ginawa kong formula of your overhead variances. Meron tayo ditong actual. Dito sa leftmost side mo, you have your actual variable overhead and then your actual fixed overhead. Ito yung total actual mo. Meaning, that's the actual cost incurred for the period given. Itong nasa gitna, you have here your budgeted, variable, and fixed overhead. That is the budget allowed on standard hours. And this one, of course, ito yung standard cost natin, or this is your applied overhead. Alright. Now, dito sa overhead natin, meron tayong apat. So, makikita nyo dito agad yung four-way analysis natin or yung four-way approach on solving your overhead variance. You have your variable overhead spending variance. That is the difference between the actual variable overhead versus the variable overhead based on your standard hours allowed. So that is, dito sa actual mo, that is the actual hour times actual rate. And then the budgeted, that is your actual hour times your standard rate. So ano yung difference nila dito sa spending variance mo? The difference is yung rate mo. Because here on your actual, you use your actual rate, whereas on your budgeted, you use your standard variable overhead rate. Tama. Now, dito naman, sa rightmost side, yung difference ni standard mo and yung budgeted mo, that is your variable efficiency variance. Ang pinagkaiba naman nito is yung actual hours used versus the standard hours allowed lang. So, yun yung tinitingnan mong difference. And down here, you have your spending variance fixed. Same siya kung paano mo sinolve si variable overhead spending variance. That is the difference between your actual and your budgeted. And you have your volume variance. Itong volume variance, this is called also your fixed variance because it is your non-controllable variance. Hindi siya nagbabago. And it's also called your capacity variance. So, kapag tinanong ka sa board exam or sa problem mo, what is your capacity variance? What is your volume variance? Or what is your non-controllable variance? Iisa lang yung tinutukoy niya. That is your fixed volume variance or the difference between your budgeted fixed overhead and your standard fixed overhead. Okay. Now, tingnan natin yung ginawa kong mga equations. I have here an overview. Ito. I also created your legend. If you want to take a picture, go ahead. Dito sa four-way, ayan, ito yung inelaborate ko kanina. Now, dun sa three-way, pag pumunta ka sa three-way, you only have your spending variance, your efficiency variance, and your volume or capacity variance. Bakit tatlo na lang? Yung dalawang spending kanina, si variable tsaka si fixed, naging isa na siya. So, spending variance. So, pagpunta ka sa two-way, magkakasama naman doon ngayon si spending and efficiency. Now, ang separate sa kanila si volume. So, ang natira, controllable variance and si volume variance or controllable and non-controllable variance. Itong si volume variance. And lastly, of course, yung total overhead variance mo na. That's your one-way analysis already. Okay. So, just to look at our equations or ano bang tawag dito, formulas na gagamitin natin. Sa four-way, sa spending variance, that is AVO less VIVO or actual variable overhead less budgeted variable overhead. Variable efficiency, BVO or budgeted less standard. Fixed overhead, AFO. Kapag small f, it stands for your fixed. Kapag large F or kapag all capital F, factory overhead siya kasi gamitin natin siya mamaya. And budgeted, fixed. And yung volume variance mo, ayan. And then, you go to three-way. Ito naman siya ngayon. Meron kang makikilalang bagong acronym. You have yung BAA, less BASH. I don't know if narinig nyo na to, pero naging approach ko din to nun. Although, I usually use the expanded form. So, mas napagod ako nag-compute dati during my time. But I also use this one. Okay. So, spending variance, that is AFO less BAA. Ano si AFO? Again, si AFO is yung actual factory overhead less BAA. When you say BAA, that is the budget allowed on actual hours. Meaning, if you will derive it for each of your variable overhead and fixed overhead, kay variable overhead, this is your budgeted variable overhead. That is yung actual hours na nagamit mo in producing your product multiplied by the standard rate. Next, you have your fixed. Ito na yung mismong budgeted overhead mo. So, usually, fixed na to. Kapag binigyan niya sa problem, siya na yon. Hindi na siya nababago. Ang mababago mo lang, yung actual. Siyempre, kung ano yung actual na na-incur and yung standard depende sa actual number of product produced times the standard hours allowed times the standard rate. Okay. Kapag sinabi mo namang si BASH, kasi dito sa volume variance, one of our formula is ito. Si BASH less S4. When you say BASH, that is your budget allowed on standard hours. Kanina, budget allowed on actual hours. Kapag sinabi mo kasing budget allowed on actual hours, ang ginagamit mo, yung actual hours used. Whereas, when you say budget allowed on standard hours, you get the number of product produced, yung actual units, i-multiply mo siya sa standard hour per unit. Let's say, kung gumawa ka ng isang upuan, at naka 100 ka na upuan, ilan ba ang standard hours sa paggawa mo ng isang upuan? Let's say, kaya mo siya ng 15 minutes kasi may mga materyales kayo. Tapos, dalawa naman kayong gumagawa. So, yung 100 na upuan times 15 minutes na standard rate, standard hour, times magkano ang standard rate ng isang manggagawa mo? Let's say, 350 per labor cost. So, times 350 na dalawa yon. Or let's say, sabihin mo ng 700 kasi dalawa sila sa isang chair. That is your BASH. Okay ba tayo doon? Makikita nyo naman dito yung computation natin later on. So, mas magiging malinaw siya sa inyo. Alright. When you go to two-way, pupunta ka ngayon sa controllable and non-controllable. If you will notice, nare-retain at nare-retain si volume, capacity, or non-controllable variance. Whereas si controllable variance, magiging magkasama dito si spending and si efficiency variance. Okay, for your controllable, that's actual factory overhead less budget allowed on standard hours or BASH. And for non-controllable, still the same formula. All right. And of course, for your total variance, that's the difference between your actual factory overhead and standard. Yung standard, kapag sinabing applied, huwag kayong malilito, okay? So, pag sinabing applied, yun din yung standard. Factory overhead. Okay, let's go to your problems para mas makita na natin and mas ma-appreciate natin ang...
Alright. Ma'am, thank you so much. Siyempre, on muna tayo, ma'am. Rest ka muna ng kaunti. Ano?
Yes.
Shout out muna tayo sa ating mga ating mga participants, sa ating mga bagong dating na participants. Welcome. Okay, so saktong-sakto ang dating nyo guys. So, but of course, we want to welcome, of course, our listeners in our FB page kay Sir Jeff Ray Maglonso. Hello, sir. How are you? And then, of course, kay Sir John Bo Cayetano. Wow! Sir John Bo Cayetano. All right. So, of course, guys, before we proceed, I want to invite you. Okay, let me just share something for you. Ma'am, kunin ko yung sharing, ha?
All right,
Kita
sir.
ko lang sa kanila.
Ahead.
Just in case, guys, you don't know yet, CPA Online Review School, of course. Yeah, we are building CPAs in new economy. Okay? So, online na tayo ngayon, guys. So, what we are doing right now is online. So, tipid ka na sa pamasahe, tipid ka sa review, maganda at magwapo pa ang inyong mga reviewer. Of course, guys, we have promo 8,500, okay, 8,500 for our review fee. So that is until May 15 na lang, guys, to. So guys, you have to grab this if you are serious in taking up the board exam this coming October 2020. Okay? So meron ng announcement ang PRC, mainit-init pa. October 11, 12, and 18 ang ating board exam. Okay? So you have to enroll, guys, and of course learn more on how to become a CPA in very efficient on how to become a CPA in this time of crisis, di ba? Grabe. So I just want to inform you guys na we are so proud na natapos namin. Okay? Natapos namin ang May 2020 batch namin. We are not affected by the COVID situation. Praise God. Fortunately, we were able to finish. So by this week, na sila, final pre-board na kami. So praise God. So this is the sample of a schedule of classes. Let me just show it to you. Okay? Oh, teka, mabagal yata. Ayan. So let us say May 4 to 9, no? June 15 to 9, meron na pala kaming schedule. Wow, this is great. Tingnan nyo, guys, no? So live links are posted on your respective portals. So let us say yung reviewer, ako, si Cristobal. Okay? So sabi ko, 7 o'clock ako ng Tuesday and Thursday ng umaga. Okay? So makikita nyo yung link sa portal nyo and then you can attend or you may attend. Depende sa'yo. The point is, sagot namin ang review nyo. Maka-attend kayo or hindi, meron kayong recording. Okay? So our FBT is 9 o'clock and then taxation, Rosario, ayan, MAS, meron din yan. Kasi sa financial accounting reporting. So, ayan, no? So that's how we do it, guys, no? June 15 to 19. So it's very simple. So makikita nyo sa inyong link. Okay, so that's how we do in terms of, let us say, may mga tanong kasi kayo pagdating sa paano yung schedule. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry about the schedule. Katulad nga ng sinabi ni Ma'am Alex, focus on the flexibility that you have right now. Which is, kung ikaw ay students, it's possible na maganda yung schedule mo. Okay? Tuloy-tuloy lang. Ang daloy ng trapiko. Okay? Pero kapag ikaw ay working professional, I think you have to be more flexible, which is that's what we are offering to you. Okay? The flexibility of our platform. Okay? So, of course, meron pa tayong i-welcome sa ating kay Sir Mark Anthony Mandia. Okay? Please, guys, please share naman ang ating Facebook ko. Papasunan. So, marami tayong ma-reach out. Okay? So, I think we're good. So, Ma'am Alex, you can take it away again. Tapos ang ating patalastas. Diba? Kasi wala nang ABS-CBN eh. Ay, sorry ba? Ma'am Alex, sige, proceed.
Alright, sir.
Okay.
Okay, let's proceed to our problem. Let us read and then let's try to answer. I-check natin. Although may answer ako dito, I will explain it to you kung paano niya nakuha or kung paano ko nakuha. Okay. So, Intel company uses a standard cost system for its production process and applies overhead based on direct labor hours. The following information is available for August when Intel made 4,500 units. I want you to note, kung nagsusulat ka or kung nag-highlight ka din dyan, i-note mo si 4,500 units na na-produce. Okay. Let's start with your standard. Binigay niya sa atin yung standard direct labor hour per unit. So, per unit na na-produce mo, meron kang direct labor hour na 2.5. Variable overhead per direct labor hour, 1.75 pesos. Fixed overhead per direct labor hour, 3.10. Your budgeted variable overhead, your budgeted fixed overhead. For your actual, you have your direct labor hours. Ito yung actual na nagamit mo. I want you to highlight that one and take note of that. Your variable overhead na actual na na-incur mo, ibig sabihin ito yung actual na nagastos mo for the period para sa variable overhead, and para sa fixed overhead, may nagastos ka na 38,000 pesos. Alright. Question number 1. Refer to intercompany using the one variance approach. What is the total overhead variance? Again, when we say one variance approach, that is your total overhead variance. Meaning, yan yung difference ni actual overhead and applied or your standard overhead. Magkano ba yung total actual overhead? Of course, you get your total actual na variable overhead plus si fixed overhead. What is your total actual? You have 26.25K plus your 38,000 versus you get the applied overhead. Again, how do you get your applied overhead? Ang sabi natin kanina, that is your standard hours allowed on the unit produced multiplied by the standard rate. Okay, magkano ba or ilan ba yung nagawa nating product or ilang units? You have 4,500. How many direct labor hour ang standard per unit? You have 2.5. Ayun siya. So, 2.5. I-multiply mo yan ng standard rate for your variable and fixed. Now, you just add your 1.75 ito and 3.1. So, 1.75 plus 3.1, that's a total of 4.85 times 2.5 standard rate times 4.5 na actual unit produced. Your total is 54,462.5. And of course, for your total actual, nandito siya 64,250. Ano ang mas mataas, actual or applied? Mas mataas yung actual mo. So that is an unfavorable variance of 9,687. Kung titignan nyo, parang dalawa-dalawa yung nagagawa or yung ginawa kong solution. Yung sa taas kasi, kung gusto mong diretso or kung kayang-kaya mo. Pero kung ikaw yung type ng tao na nagre-rely or mas sanay ka dito sa meron kang acronym, you can use that actually. So, pwedeng kunin mo muna lahat isa-isa. Get your AFO, BAA, BASH, SFO, BFO, BIVO, lahat yon. Tapos kung ano yung required, tsaka mo na lang siya tignan sa listahan mo. Let's say, efficiency variance. So, ano bang formula mo ng efficiency variance? Then, kunin mo lang yung values ng BAA or kung ano yung involved sa formula mo. Let's say, ano ulit kay efficiency variance mo? You have BAA less BASH. Nung nilista mo lahat yung AFO, BAA, BASH, nasan si BAA at si BASH? Kunin mo na lang yung values niya, then you get the difference. That's another approach. Kaya meron ako dito sa baba na AFO less SFO, tapos ito yung katumbas ni AFO, ito si SFO. Yun yung explanation ko dyan. Kaya ganyan yung pinakita kong solution. Okay, let's go to number 2. Refer to intercompany. Using the two variance approach, what is the controllable variance? Again, what is your controllable variance? Kung titingnan mo, that is your AFO less. AFO less, controllable variance is AFO less BASH. Tama ba tayo? Controllable variance is AFO less BASH. Tama, ayun siya. Can you see this one? Ito, hina-highlight ko, no? Controllable variance is AFO less BASH. Itong controllable variance mo, again, ito yung pinagsamang spending plus si efficiency. Kasi matitira dyan si capacity variance sa two-way approach. Okay, let's proceed. How much is your controllable variance? Kung gagamitin natin yung binigay kong equation, AFO less BASH, ano yung AFO mo? Ayun, si 64,250. Nakuha mo na to kanina. Kunin mo na lang ngayon si BASH. Again, what is BASH? Budget allowed based on standard hours. Anong meaning nito? Standard hours mo for the standard unit produced. Ilan yung na-produce mong unit? 4,500. What is your standard hours? Your standard hour is 2.5 per unit. Dito kay BASH, magkasama kasi dyan si variable and fixed. Ngayon si fixed, eto na siya. Kung ano yung binigay niya sa budgeted, that is fixed already. Siya na yung gagamitin mo, 38,750. So, eto na siya. Ang i-compute mo na lang kay BASH, for your variable na lang. That is 1.75 na rate times 2.5 times 4,500 units produced. So, hindi ka ba nalito? Okay. Again, your AFO, nakuha mo siya. Si Bash, that is budget allowed on standard hours. You retain your budgeted fixed, given na siya kanina, 38,750. I-compute mo na lang yung para kay variable mo. Okay? Ang total ngayon ng Bash mo, Bash is equal to 58,437.5 versus the difference with your actual factory overhead. What's the difference? You have a difference of 5,812. Mas mataas si actual kesa kay budget allowed on standard hours, meaning you have an unfavorable variance here. If gusto mo naman ng ganitong way, actual overhead less budgeted overhead based on standard quantity and standard hours, you can use this one. Diretso ka na. Parehas lang ng sagot ang lalabas. Okay. Refer to Intel using the two-way variance. Papakompute naman sa atin ngayon si volume variance mo. Volume variance is Bash less S4. Okay, so nakuha mo kanina si Bash. That is your budget allowed on standard hour. You just have to retain the value kasi parehas lang naman. Now, with your S4, this is your standard factory overhead or your applied overhead. Magkano yung amount niya? That is 4,500 unit produced times your standard hours allowed per unit and your total standard rate, that is for both variable and fixed overhead. Nakuha mo na din pala siya kanina dun sa one-way analysis. So, pwede mo na lang siyang i-carry forward. All you have to do is to know kung ano ba yung formula ng volume variance mo. That is for your two-way. So, your answer here, 54,562.5 yung standard mo or applied, and yung budget allowed on standard hour is 58,047, meaning you have a variance of 3,875 unfavorable. Now, sometimes, you can also compute your volume variance using your fixed overhead lang. Meaning, kunin mo lang si budgeted overhead mo and yung standard overhead mo. How? Kung titingnan mo to, si Bash, tsaka si S4, makakancel dyan si variable overhead. Tama ba? Kasi kay S4, meron kang standard variable overhead. Dito kay Bash, standard variable overhead pa rin yon. If you will notice, matitira lang dyan kay Bash, pag na-cancel yung variable, si budgeted fix. Napansin mo ba? And si S4, kapag naalis si variable overhead, matitira mo lang dyan si standard fixed overhead. Nakita mo ba? 4,5 times 2.5 times 3.1. Alisin mo si 1.75. Tama ba? So meaning you can also compute your volume or capacity variance using your budgeted fixed overhead versus applied fixed overhead. Same answer. Gusto nyong patunayan natin? Okay, hanapin natin yung question na using for variance analysis. What is your fixed volume variance or your volume variance? Let's try to look. Ayun, yung number 10. Tignan mo siya. Volume variance under your question number 10 is equal to budgeted fixed overhead less standard fixed overhead. Tama ba yung sabi ko? Alisin mo lang si variable dun kay Bash kanina. Tama ba? Tsaka kay S4 na capital F, si standard factory overhead. Matitira, ito, si 38,750 na budgeted, that is fixed amount, and si standard fixed overhead. Same ba ng answer? 3,875, unfavorable. Balikan natin. 3,875. Oh, parehas. So, you can use either way. Depende sa'yo kung saan ka comfortable na formula. You can also use pa rin yung expanded formula na pinakita ko kanina. Alright, number 4. I think mabilis na lang natin ito matatapos kasi nakuha mo na yung values mo kanina. Meron ka ng Bash, may S4 ka na, may AFO ka na. Si baan na lang yata yung kulang eh. Tama ba? Wala pa tayong baan na nakikita dito. Okay, abangan natin siya. Alright. Number 4, Intel company using three variance approach. What is your spending variance? Again, spending variance is equal to your Actual factory overhead less BAA. Ito na, nagpakita na si BAA or your budget allowed on actual hours. AFO, that is your actual factory overhead. Nakuha mo na siya kanina, 64,250. Let's get your BAA. When you say BAA or budget allowed on actual hours, you just have to use your actual hours. Ano ba or ilang oras ba yung nagamit niya to produce? Punta ka dito sa data mo. Actual direct labor hours used, you have 10,000. Gamitin mo siya. Multiplied by your variable overhead rate. Magkano ang variable overhead rate mo ng direct labor hour? 1.75. Plus, idagdag mo na lang doon si budgeted fixed overhead. Bakit? Kasi given naman na siya for your BAA. Di ba sabi natin budget allowed on actual hours? Kapag budgeted na fixed, yun na yung kukunin mo. Okay, balikan natin. Question number 4. Tama ba? Yes, 10,000 hours times 1.75. This is for your variable overhead. Plus 38,750 na budgeted fixed. A total of 56,250. Get the difference of your BAA and AFO. Mas mataas si actual factory overhead. Therefore, you have a variance of 8,000 unfavorable. All right. Konting-konti na lang. Let's go to number 5. Using the three variance approach, what is your efficiency variance? Again, what is your efficiency variance? Kung three-way approach ka, ito yung formula mo. Si BAA less BASH. That is your budget allowed on actual hour versus budget allowed on standard hours. But there's more. You can use an alternative equation dito or formula. Paano? Just get your budgeted variable overhead, budgeted, and your standard or applied variable overhead. Get the difference, yun na si efficiency variance mo. Kung titingin ka dun sa expanded formula natin, nandun siya, si variable efficiency variance. Now, dito kasi three-way analysis tayo or three-way approach tayo, kaya meron tayong equation. You have BAA less BASH. Now, patunayan natin na parehas ang sagot mo dyan sa efficiency variance using your expanded formula and itong BAA minus BASH. Okay, what's your BAA again? That is budget allowed on actual hours. Carry mo lang si fixed, 38,750. And then, get your standard rate for your variable, 1.75 times actual hours. Total of 56,250. Nakuha mo na siya kanina. BASH, nakuha mo na to kanina. Again, 4,500 units times 2.5 hours per unit na standard hours. Multiply mo siya ng 1.75. And you add your 38,750. All right. Now you get the difference. You have 2,187.5. Okay. Now kung titignan mo, ano yung similar kay BAA and BASH? Similar si budgeted fixed overhead. So pwede mo siyang i-cancel. Papatunayan natin na parehas yung sagot natin kung gagamit ka ng expanded formula, yung variable, budgeted variable less budget or standard variable. Alisin mo si 38,750. Alisin mo rin dito si 38,750. Anong matitira? Matitira si budgeted variable and si standard variable na 2,187 yung difference nila. Now, tingin tayo dito ng question na magtatanong using four-way analysis ng efficiency variance natin. Four-way analysis, ayun, number 8. Question number 8. Refer to Intel company using four-variance approach. What is your variable overhead efficiency variance? Tama ba? Same answer ba? BAA less BASH and BIVO less SVO? Parehas. So, you can use either formula. Okay. So, number 8, may sagot na din tayo dyan. Number 7, ano bang tanong kay number 7? Variable overhead spending. Okay. So, pwede mo nang gamitin yung basic equations mo dito. What's your basic equation?
Ma'am
Yes.
Alex, stop muna kita ha. Kwan ulit
Okay.
tayo. Pahinga ka muna para bitinin
Okay.
natin ng kaunti. Okay? So, syempre, ayaw natin na napapagod ang ating CMA, Certified na Magandang Accountant. Okay? But of course, guys, I want to shout out. Okay? Yun lang talaga, no? Gusto ko lang i-shout out ang ating mga listeners. Okay? Si Ma'am Judy Ann Victorio, thank you so much for coming in. And then of course kay Sir Jason Bisa. So guys, sa ating mga listeners sa Facebook, please stay kung nasaan kayo, no, yung location nyo guys, no, para makita natin kung saan na bang lupalop na nakakarating ang CPA Online Review School. So currently meron tayong listeners sa Laguna, meron tayo sa Cavite, meron tayo sa Capiz, meron tayo sa Pampanga, meron tayo sa Isabela. Ang matindi, meron tayo sa Middle East, sa Kuwait. Okay? So, by the way guys, meron tayong mga students sa saan na nga to? Sa Middle East. Okay? So, just now, merong nag-enroll. Okay? From Dubai. Thank you so much. Okay? And then, of course, we want to welcome Miss Jorisa Asis. Okay, hi, ma'am. How are you? Thank you so much for coming in. And then, of course, si Leo. Hi, how are you, Leo? And then, from Bataan, meron tayo from Pangasinan. Okay, kay si Ma'am Christine. Okay, so may mga nagtatanong, ano ba yung schedule ng review? Paano ba mag-enroll? Okay, so habang nagpapahinga si Ma'am Alex, okay, let me repeat guys kasi meron tayong mga syempre mga hindi narinig ng ating stage ay ating discussion kanina. So guys, no, if you want to enroll in CPA Online Review School, it's very simple lang. Okay? I-message nyo kami dito. Ayan, ating Facebook. Mag-message lang kayo. Okay? Somebody will answer to you. And then somebody will give you the link for the enrollment. Or number 2 option nyo is how to enroll guys, no? Ito kasi yung enrollment process. So dito na yung payment. Okay? So by the way, ang enrollment fee is 8,500 guys until May 15. So hindi yan 10,000, okay? But of course, after May 15, 10,000 na yan. So these are the checking account or the video or the bank account na pwede nyo i-deposit. Okay, don't worry guys, may bibigay ko sa pag-message kayo sa Facebook page natin. Okay? And then it's very simple. You just have to send the proof of payment and then of course the documents, the required documents na kailangan. Okay? At ang kagandahan nito guys, we will give you early access sa either auditing problem or auditing theory. Depende sa inyo kung ano yung gusto niyo piliin. Kasi ang start lang naman ng ating class is on June 15. Okay? So June 15 ang start ng class natin. Okay? For formal review. And then that's simple. That's how to enroll. And then of course, the schedule of classes, ito kasi critical, talagang may mga nagtatanong. No? Schedule of classes is very flexible, guys. No? Again, I'm gonna repeat. Okay? Schedule classes is posted in our Facebook, in our online portal. So you can see the schedule. This is very flexible, guys. Ano? It will depend on the schedule of our reviewers. Of course, what are the time or the allotted time that they made for the certain week. So just like me, sabi ko from June 15 to 19, from June 15 to 19, I'm available from 7 to 8:30. So yeah, that's my commitment for that. So yun, you can access, okay, yung meeting natin, okay, the live discussion through the provided link doon sa respective portal nyo, okay? So kaya may ganyan yan. And then of course, we will cover auditing theory, auditing problem, taxation, all of the subjects. So again, guys, kung hindi kayo naka-attend, don't worry. Okay? Because this is recorded. So just like now, let us say hindi ka naka-attend earlier, don't worry. Okay, we have a recording. Merong recording to and we will provide it to you. Okay? So how are you going to access it? So ayan, let me show it to you and then log in ka lang. Pag nag-log in ka niyan, ibibigay yung email mo na ginamit and then of course you have a unique password na gagamitin for that. Okay? So yeah, that's how it is. And then of course we want to say hello to Sir Michael Basig Jr. Kay Sir Brian Fonda. Wow! Talaga naman. Ang bait-bait ni Sir Brian. Talagang supportive tong kaibigan kong to. And then of course kay Sir Angelo Tugade. She is tagging Faye. Okay, hi Ma'am Faye, listen to us now. Okay, this is the great opportunity for everyone. Okay, and then of course, kay Ma'am MJ ko. Oy, from Las Piñas. And then yung isa is La Trinidad. Ang La Trinidad is malapit sa inyo, Ma'am Alex.
Yes, sir.
No, La
Malapit lang.
Trinidad na Benguet, ano? Tama?
Benguet. Yes, sir.
And then of course, from Valenzuela City, si Ma'am Mary Elaine. All right. So hopefully guys, nagot natin yung mga tanong nyo, no? Na how to enroll, ano, paano ang review, paano ang schedule. So usually yun naman ang mga tanong. Okay? So hopefully, yeah, please guys, we are expecting everyone. Okay? Or of course, please enroll in our samantalahin na to, no? Yung CPA Online Review School natin kasi we are really doing it na to reach out. So later on kasi after May 15, 10,000 na to, no? So right now it's only 8,500 plus meron ka pang early access for those recorded videos that we have earlier from for the May 2020 batch, mabibigyan ka ng access. So by the way guys, so yung mga current namin na students, if you are current students and then mag-enroll ka, madami na tayong re-enrollees, okay, 500 per subject tayo. Okay, so sulit na sulit. So if let us say gusto mong i-defer, let us say, or I mean, mag-enroll ka ngayon and then for next year, so 8,500 plus 3,500, diba? Napakalaking tipid. So unlike kapag makukunin mo yung 10,000 and then you 3,500, so sayang din yun guys, no? So you as an accountant, di ba? Pinag-aaralan nyo, alam nyo na yan. Variable ba yan? Favorable ba sa inyo or hindi? Di ba? So hopefully you will find it favorable because we are making it favorable to you para maging CPA ka na. And of course, you are welcome to be part of CPA Online Review School. Yeah, you can become a guest reviewer. We are welcoming everyone. Okay? So guys, yeah, back to you, Ma'am Alex. Thank you so much.
Yes, enroll na kayo guys. So, take the opportunity, take the discount. Parang yung ginawa ko din sa akin dati.
Yes.
Ganyan din ako nun. Okay, so let's go back. Konting question na lang kasi na-touch na natin lahat. Ilan na lang ba? Number 6, 3 variance or volume variance is, ayan, nasagot na natin yan.
Nice.
Number 7, variable overhead spending variance. This is the difference, again, between your actual variable overhead and your budgeted variable overhead. Magkano ba si actual variable overhead mo? Your actual variable overhead given sa problem, 26,250 versus your standard variable overhead or your applied. That is 4,500 units times 2.5 direct labor hour. That is your standard hours allowed. Multiply by 1.75 na standard rate. You have your 19,687.5 and you have a variance of 6,562.50. That is unfavorable. Bakit? Mas mataas yung cost incurred mo versus your standard cost or your standard or your applied variable overhead. Okay, and you have your variable efficiency variance. Same sa sinabi natin kanina. Meron pa tayong proof na same ito sa 3-way, same rin siya sa 4-way, same rin siya sa 3-way. Alright, number 9, you have your fixed overhead spending variance. This is the difference between your actual fixed overhead, that is your 38,000 pesos, versus your applied fixed overhead or your budgeted overhead. Yung budgeted mo, given din siya kanina, and that is also fixed, that is 38,750. You have a favorable variance of 750. Ito pa lang yata, no, yung favorable variance natin. And maliit na amount rin siya. Lastly, you have your volume variance, another na pinrove natin kanina, na you have two alternative solutions. That is 3875. Okay. Kung napanood mo to, and kung naintindihan mo, I hope nadalian ka na. Ang kailangan mo lang i-note, balikan mo lang itong expanded formula natin. Now, tignan nga natin ulit yung expanded formula before we end this session for your standard costing, again, you have here your overhead variances. Ito siya. Actual, on your leftmost, nasa gitna mo si budgeted, and this one is your applied, rightmost, or you have your standard overhead. Now, mabibigyan kayo ng copy kung naka-register kayo itong mga ginawa kong formula and yung ibig sabihin nila kung paano sila madederive. You have your one variance, two-way, three-way, four-way.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. So yeah, guys, no, just make sure na yung mga nasa Zoom natin, ating dito sa platform na to, you will have an automatic email. Makaka-receive kayo for the link of the recorded video class, the materials that you can download. So while for our listeners, please message us sa Facebook para you can be registered in our database, and then we can send you the materials. Also, syempre, yung link for you to download where you can download the materials, and of course where you can watch the recording. So guys, no, I just want to supplement dito sa how my approach in terms of overhead, no? Ang approach ko dito, guys, no, kasi medyo talagang nakakalito to. Ang hirap. So just remember, guys, when we are talking about overhead, dalawa palagi yan, no? Yung composition ng overhead na yan is dalawa. Meron kang variable and then meron kang fixed. Okay? So usually, yung variable is based normally sa mga problems is direct labors. Okay? Based sa sinasabi niya na the variable overhead is based on X number of direct labor. Okay? Or sasabihin niyang 1.5% of direct labor. So, yun yung isa. And then, just make sure na meron ka pang hahanapin sa problem na fixed overhead. So, whatever na kung actual ba yan, kung budget ba yan, kung standard ba yan, kung applied, palaging ganun, guys, ano? Meron kang what's this? Variable, and then meron kang fixed overhead. So, focus ka doon, and then i-apply mo ito yung sinasabi ni ma'am na formula. Okay, which is, I think, guys, napakaganda na itong formula binigay ni Ma'am Alex for you. So, just make sure na nakinig kayo. If not naman, yan kagandahan. If hindi na naman kayo kung nalilito ulit kayo, di ba? You can access it anytime. Paulit-ulit. Hanggang ma-master mo. So again, guys, the technique to become a CPA or makapasa ka, let's say, sabihin natin, hindi tayo kasing katalino ni Ma'am Alex. No? Ang technique natin na gagawin is repetition. Paulit-ulit hanggang sa maintindihan natin, hanggang sa ma-master mo na. Okay? Ma-master mo na ang concept. For all the subjects, ganun ang gagawin natin. Okay? So, Ma'am Alex, any encouraging words to our aspiring CPAs?
Yes, sir. I agree dun sa sinabi mong repetitive, i-solve mo lang ng i-solve, i-practice mo ng i-practice. Actually, ako din, isa din yan sa kaaway ko dati sa MAS. Ayan. Enemy kami ni overhead variance kasi ang dami. Pero nung inupuan ko talaga siya, nung sabi ko isa sa puso ko nga to, or try ko i-memorize. Okay naman yung i-memorize, pero mas maganda pa rin yung maintindihan ko siya yung concept niya.
Exactly.
So, inupuan ko siya, tinandaan ko, inintindi ko, bakit ganito, yes.
Kasi kapag
kung gusto mo gumawa ng...
kapag minemorize mo, may ang laki ng possibility na makakalimutan mo eh. Unlike if you're going to analyze.
Yes, sir. Tapos pwede rin gumawa ng sariling... Ikaw, kung gusto kong gumawa ng sariling formula, yes. Yung pwede mo siyang matatandaan talaga.
Exactly. Of course, yes. So, before we say goodbye, thank you ito, nandito si Ma'am Charis. Charis. Okay? Hi, Ma'am. How are you? Thank you for watching. This is Tristan. Okay? Kung di ako nagkakamali, si Ma'am is aking manager noon nung nandun ako sa Deloitte. No? And then of course, si Ma'am Pauline, thank you for tagging. Okay, si Jenny P. And then of course kay Sir Randy, okay, you are welcome. And then kay Nika Pangasinan, wow, ang dami natin taga Pangasinan. Okay guys, please, this is goodbye. Okay, God bless to everyone. Can you please share naman ang ating mga videos as a say of saying thank you for as yun lang request ko sa inyo, no? Please share our video sa Facebook para marami pa tayong ma-reach out ng mga aspiring CPAs na sa tingin nyo ay matutulungan namin. Okay? So this is me, Tristan Ian Cristobal. Okay? Signing off. Goodbye. God bless. And ingat po kayo ha. Bye-bye. God bless. Bye-bye. Ma'am Alex, goodbye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yes, goodbye.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you rin, sir. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Okay, and then of course sa ating mga listeners sa Facebook, okay, thank you so much guys. Bye-bye, God bless. Mua, chup, chup.
Bye. Keep safe.
Keep
God
safe.
bless.